Hello, welcome back to She's at the Vicarage. We start today in the greenhouse, but most of our time will be spent inside. I have probably said it many times, but I definitely said last week that I really struggle finishing projects. I like starting projects, I like coming up with ideas, but actually completing them I'm not very good at. So over the coming months, my plan is to complete some of those jobs that I've started. So we are going to go back into the music room and paint the ceiling. That's the first job, but try and start work on actually completing that task. I keep buying things to start new things, but actually what I need to do is finish things. And there's stuff to do in here that needs finishing as well. The tomatoes, I don't know if you can see this tomato plant, but it's incredibly long and needs staking. So my tomatoes need staking. I have plants in here that you're welcome to tell me what they are. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it probably should not be in a pot and it should go into the ground. So I need to plant those into the ground. I'm going to plant some of the mint that's down there into the ground. Behind me here, we have another plant that probably would like to go into the ground, although maybe it's past its best. And then I also, if I move this tray out of the way, you can see that I have two plants. I thought I was planting delphiniums in there, and actually they're not delphiniums at all, they're courgettes, so they probably need to go into the ground. So I need to find some ground for them as well. So there's stuff to do in the greenhouse, there's plants to plant. You see me holding here, I've just found my first complete runner bean, and looking at the runner bean plants from in here, I'm sure there might be some more runner beans on these plants to pick. So there's lots of jobs to do, but I've got to finish things. That's leading up to the end of 2025, I am going to complete those jobs. That is my aim. So let's head inside and let's start finishing the music room. This is the area of our house I have given the title music room, and as you can see, I've got a small tin of ceiling paint to use up, another tin of ceiling paint that's nearly empty to use up, and then a full tin of ceiling paint. So I'm going to get these used up, do a bit of decluttering as I decorate the ceiling. Here goes. So that was the ceiling completed, and you won't believe how proud I am of myself that I then went on and washed up my brush, my roller and my paint pad. So I don't know about you, but I find this wall really, really boring, and I want to add some features to it. So I've bought some panels of wood, which I'm going to measure up and see if I can create a little bit more interest on that wall. Let's give it a go. Not something I've done before, but something I'm prepared to attempt. I wonder what you got for Mother's Day if you're a mother this year. This is the little gadget that I got for Mother's Day, so I'm going to try and use this to measure the wall. It's brilliant, it's better than any chocolates or flowers anyone could have got me. So I was able to get the measurements of the wall, and then it was time to use these panels and start drawing out where I wanted to glue them. Noticing how dirty the paintwork was, it was time to wash the walls with some sugar soap before doing anything else. My next job on the list of Operation Sort the Music Room was to measure and cut the panels I was going to stick on for a feature on the wall. You'll notice after measuring the first 45-degree angle with a protractor, I realised that folding a piece of paper gives me the angle in a much easier way. And so I went on to add the 45-degree angles on all the other bits of wood. This larger saw that you're seeing me using in slow motion, I actually acquired when I was 19. I think it was the first tool I ever bought for a craft project. And I've used it for crafts, I've used it in the garden. It has served me fantastically well. And as you can see from the rust, it's the same blade that I had all those years ago. And slowly I worked my way through the 45-degree angles of each panel. So once the panels had all been cut, I forgot to film myself gluing them on, but you can see them there in situ. And then I began to paint the walls and it came out a royal blue. Not a colour that I'd chosen, and it looked like it was wet when it was dry. There's these glowy patches on it, and I must admit for the rest of the week I dithered about whether I wanted to get a different colour and what to do, and because I didn't enjoy looking at it, I actually avoided it until Friday. Okay, so in a week of working I've got one wall done. Plan is to do the rest of the walls, but I only have an hour because it's a glorious day outside and I'm heading to our local Lido with my sister. But this is the wall I'm going to be working on next. See how much I can get of that done. I'm going to set a timer for an hour. One question I have is that I've trimmed the wall to give it a bit of a feature on that side. Should I add that wood panelling effect to this wall and maybe even that wall too? Probably won't get on to those in this video, so if you could let me know your thoughts. Should I, because the piano's mainly in the way, so does it need to have like beading on those walls as well? Let me know, but let's see how much of this I can get done in an hour. It might seem strange in a music room to have coat hooks, but in fact this is still the entrance hall, and when people visit the vicarage, as they do for meetings and other pastoral events and things, it's good to have somewhere for them to put their coats, and it's also very near our guest toilet. So I do need coat hooks here, but I'm actually going to replace these coat hooks. These are going to be transferred into our church centre to replace some broken hooks in the church centre, and I have another idea for here. So there will be hooks, but not quite like this, but wait and see for that one. And this is what I got done in that final hour of this week, getting this project done. And there we have it, the alarm goes off and that's it, done. Now, I still didn't like the paint, but when I came to do it at the weekend, this is a little sneak peek for you for next week's video, I stirred the paint and it came out on the second coat a totally different colour. So join me next week to see how this music room ends up once I've completed the paintwork and added all the extra features. I look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you for joining me this week. Take care. God bless. Bye.